switching over to Sierra since we're going eastbound. It should get better now, actually. Thank you very much. Alright, so signal should be better now, guys, and we're going eastbound. Well, let me know if we start streaming. And desk, we were first on scene, but 9 is here with us now as well. Thank you to everyone who is joining us online. I'm Eliana Marino in News Chopper 4 Alpha, along with my pilot, James Pollard, and we are following a fast-moving police pursuit here on the eastbound 60 freeway approaching Fairway. This is a pursuit of a possible stolen vehicle. It started in West Covina's area and has been going on now for about 15 to 20 minutes, roughly. It was on surface streets for a good time, and in fact, it was actually the Irwindale Police Department that joined the police pursuit when it was in their territory. But now that we are on the freeway, it is the California Highway Patrol that is in pursuit. Eastbound 60 here, approaching Golden Springs. Traffic is light, but you can see that this driver is zigzagging, using every lane possible to try to evade the authorities. Currently, they're in the carpool lane. At this point, we haven't heard any information about the driver or whether anybody else may be in that vehicle with him or her. But this, again, is a pursuit that started in the city of West Covina. West Covina police officers tried to pull this vehicle over because it came back as a stolen car, but the driver failed to yield and the pursuit was on. And if you look at our speedometer there, that's accurate. So you're looking at speeds in the triple digits, about 105 miles an hour, and really picking up speed here. We're coming up to about 110 miles an hour. The good news is traffic is light, but at those speeds it can be difficult to maneuver the car around a slower moving car, and that could lead to an accident. So we hope that doesn't happen. However, that vehicle does already have some damage to the driver's side rear. Now, that was already on the car before we got overhead, so I don't know exactly how or when that happened. But as I push in here, if you look at that rear tire, just look right above it, and you'll notice some damage to the car. So it's unclear how that happened, if that happened during the course of the pursuit or if it happened beforehand. But you can see that the car does have some damage. In terms of what type of car this is, it looks like a Porsche Cayenne, perhaps. It's tough to tell, though. It's got tinted windows on the back. I can kind of see a little bit into the front. So I will try to get you the exact make and model as soon as we hear it, just because it's difficult for us to make it out here with our small monitors. But it does appear to be a vehicle that could seat at least 4 people, possibly 5. And at this point, unclear how many people may be in the vehicle, but you can see the units behind. That's going to be the California Highway Patrol, because we are now on the freeways, the 60 eastbound freeway to be exact. Right out your side, Jim. 3 o'clock. Kia Soul. Thank you, Jim. So Jim actually got the make and model from the airship overhead, and they're telling him it's a Kia Soul. So this is a white Kia Soul approaching Golden Springs here on the eastbound 605. Again, a Kia Soul, a possible stolen car with the California Highway Patrol in pursuit. Now, it's unclear if it is a man or a woman behind the wheel or how many people may be inside. But again, a pursuit that started in the city of West Covina. It made its way to Irwindale, and it is at that point that the Irwindale Police Department joined the pursuit. But now they're back in their jurisdiction, and now it's the California Highway Patrol that is giving chase here on the eastbound 60 freeway. Continuing eastbound 60 here at Phillips Ranch, which is going to put us in Pomona. Now, Pomona does have their own police department, the Pomona Police Department, of course. However, because this is on the freeway, they will likely not get involved. They will be made aware, though, that there is a pursuit coming through their area, just in case the vehicle were to exit the freeway and get onto surface streets. But for now, it's going to be the California Highway Patrol, and you saw that maneuver there. The driver trying to avoid some of those slower moving cars here on this Friday night. And really anything is going to be slower than what he's going at. He's going at about 100 miles an hour plus. So that is definitely going to be a lot faster than the other cars that are on the road here. We're continuing eastbound 60 at the 71. Again, the CHP in pursuit. I'm counting just 2 ground units behind him. And then, of course, you've got the airship overhead. That's who's providing that light that you see there. That's called the night sun. So they use that to light the vehicle up so that they can see where it is going. And it also will advise other drivers about what is coming their way so that those other drivers can ideally pull over to the right, let the pursuit go by, and then rejoin traffic when it's safe to do so, because when this guy's coming right at you at 100 miles an hour, you want to be aware that he is coming your way. Maybe exiting Reservoir here. So maybe exiting the freeway, Jim. James Pollard at the controls of News Chopper 4 Alpha here is going to slow us down just a little bit because the vehicle is exiting the freeway, so we don't want to overfly him. So what he's going to do is come under the freeway. Now going northbound here, Reservoir. Wrong side of the road, so dangerous. Back on the right side of the road now, going northbound on Reservoir. It's always so scary when they get on surface streets and they're driving this dangerously because you have pedestrians to contend with, you have red lights, cross traffic. It just adds to the level of danger. So again, if you are in the Pomona area, listen up. This is coming your way. We've got this driver who is driving at about 100 miles an hour here on Reservoir Street, headed northbound into your city. So still 2 units behind the pursuit. It's still going to be CHP. Northbound on Reservoir through Phillips. Hard on the brakes here, so he probably has a intersection coming up here. I don't want to widen out too much because I don't want to miss any of the action, but he ran that red light right there. Fortunately, it wasn't a cross-traffic situation and there weren't cars coming the other way. Reservoir at 9th, continuing at high speeds. These are surface streets, folks. 90 miles an hour, so incredibly dangerous. Again, this is a Kia Soul, white in color, as you see there. Tinted windows on the back, but the front windows are not tinted, so we can kind of see inside. Unclear, though, how many people may be inside or whether the driver is a man or a woman. But the CHP continuing to pursuit here. Oh, tight squeeze there right by that fire truck. And making that westbound turn now on a halt. I'm hearing on the scanner that this person is, okay, so I'm getting some information now. I want to just listen carefully so that I can share it with you. It's right behind us, Jim. It's going to come out my side. I am hearing on the scanner that there are 2 people in the car, a male driver and a female passenger. They're pulling into a shopping center here, but let's see. Yeah, they're just trying to get through traffic there. They didn't want to pull off and take off running. They were just trying to avoid the light. Again, it is described as a man behind the wheel, a female passenger, in a possible stolen car. Right behind us, Jim. 6 o'clock. Cool. Okay, coming up to San Bernardino Avenue. He slowed down quite a bit compared to how fast he was driving before. But 60 miles an hour on surface streets really isn't slow. Wow, did you see that close call there with that other vehicle? He essentially ran the light there, so it would have been his fault, of course, had he been involved in a collision. Now in a residential area, it's unclear if he knows where he's going. It seems like this isn't really a neighborhood where you would want to turn into if you don't know the area well. Right out your side, Jim, 4 o'clock. Perfect, thank you. Southbound on Monroe. Again, we are in a residential area of Pomona. And they are notifying Pomona police, as I mentioned before. They want to have them on standby and ready in case the driver and his female passenger decide to abandon the vehicle and take off running. Monroe at Alvarado. Making another turn here onto Gibbs. And yet another turn. So perhaps this is an area that this person is familiar with, because these are a lot of turns that he's making. So southbound on Gibbs here, high speeds in a residential area. Really scary when you think about it. There's a Pomona police officer there waiting. Coming up to Holt, just cut in front of that vehicle there. So now he's back on the major street here through the area. It's going to be Holt at Gary. Red light here. Oh, so scary. Okay, he's going to come underneath us here for just a second, so I'm going to widen out the shot so we don't lose him. Light traffic, speeds at about 65 to 70 miles an hour. Perfect, thanks, Jim. Again, we're in Pomona. A pursuit that started in West Covina of a possible stolen vehicle, made its way to the freeways, and is now back in residential areas. Oh my gosh, right there, just clipped that car there at Holt and Hamilton, but he's still going. Holt and Hamilton. I'm hearing that the ground units actually lost visual of him, but the good news is that the airship still has him. So the police airship is making the calls here, letting the ground units know where the vehicle is located, and he's letting them know about that collision that took place just about a minute ago at Holt and Hamilton. That poor person was just waiting for the light, minding his or her own business, and then this guy just rear-ended him and took off running. So that's a hit and run right there. So you can add that to the tally of offenses that this person already has against him. I'm hearing that they're going to go into tracking mode. So that is what I'm hearing now on the police scanner. So what that means is that the ground units are going to back off. Since they lost visual of him, the ground units are going to stay back, but they're going to kind of hang out in the area. Just in case the pursuit does come to a stop, they'll be able to jump in. However, the airship is just going to track on his own. So the airship will continue to notify the ground units where the pursuit is going. They'll call out the streets and just anything of importance that takes place. Pomona police is asking if they can take over the pursuit. So they're asking for permission to join in, and they are being allowed permission to take over the pursuit. So we may see ground units from the Pomona Police Department jump in here. So if you're wondering about that vehicle that was hit, I am hearing on the scanner that they're sending ground units, police units that is, to check on that person and anybody else who may be inside to make sure that they're not injured, and of course take a traffic report for what happened, because of course it is going to be a hit and run situation. Now the driver though of this car, continuing on here on surface streets in the Pomona area, Academy and Cornelia streets. Again, 2 people in the car is what I'm hearing on the scanner. A male driver with his female passenger. The vehicle believed to be stolen. In terms of freeways, like what we're closer to, we're going to be very close to the 71, the 60, and the 57. So kind of where all those come together in the Pomona area. So this person really isn't far from any of those freeways and would have the opportunity to jump on any of those whenever he so chooses. But since we saw him on the 60 freeway, he has not gotten back on a freeway and has instead driven on surface streets, making a lot of turns here in this residential area. Now, just from covering pursuits, we know that people tend to return to an area that is familiar to them. The thought process behind that is that they might find a situation where they can abandon the car and take off running on foot and perhaps hide inside of their home, a friend's home, a parking structure, just something to try to buy them some time where they can hide from the authorities. So this very well could be that type of situation, and maybe slowing down here. So this may be it. I see the doors opening just behind the tree there. They're both exiting the vehicle. So I'm going to follow the man because we had heard that he was the driver running into this home here. Both of them are. They're now running into the backyard. They're just very close to the 71, as I was mentioning, just off of Cornelia Street. So last I saw them, they were in the back of that home there. It's unclear if this is a home that is familiar to them or if they chose this house at random. But you actually see another man approaching now. He is dressed very similarly to the man that was in this pursuit, but that is not the same description. So I am hearing that they are in the backyard of the home. And you see that other man there in the driveway. He's not connected to this pursuit. He was already here. He's likely on the phone. I can hear, or I can see his hand up to his ear. So he's likely on the phone trying to get the police because there are 2 people that are now in the backyard of his home. But again, it's unclear if those 2 people have any connection to this home or if they picked this home at random. I'll show you where the car is in relation to the house. There's the car. They left it in drive, so it kept rolling. Officers just arrived on scene. They just cleared the car. They're saying nobody else is inside. And the airship did lose visual of those 2 people when he was making his orbit. So that's essentially when he's flying in a circle around the home. The airship did lose track of those 2 individuals. We likely last saw them at the same time, which was when we saw them going into the backyard of this home. Now, this home has lots of trees. I didn't see them in the trees, however. I actually didn't see them move past the structure. So that's going to be the last known location there. I'll actually widen out because that's the 71. So the 71 freeway is going to be right next to where all this activity is taking place. But of course, all of the action is going to be on the surface street just to the east of that Cornelia, that curvy street that you see there. And now we see a police dog arriving on scene. That's going to be crucial to try to get the scent of those 2 people from the vehicle. It will help in the search so that they can try to locate him and her. And again, last time we saw them, they were in the backyard of this home on Cornelia Street in Pomona. So now I'm hearing on the police scanner that the officers are going to set up a perimeter to try to locate these individuals. So this again, Canterbury and Cornelia is the cross. They're essentially the same street, but right where that home is actually where the street changes names. And I'll try to pick up a house number on this house. Let's see what I get. I'm seeing the 1100 block. So 1100 block of Cornelia. You see additional officers arriving on scene. And now this again is going to be Pomona. So because the chase ended in Pomona, they're going to be best suited to handle the perimeter situation. You, of course, will have CHP here on scene as well because they were the ones that were in pursuit when this came to a stop. So yeah, there's the police canine. They will have the dog sniff the vehicle, and that will help in finding these two individuals. Again, we had heard that it was a male driver, female passenger. Our view was obstructed by a tree when they exited the vehicle, so I didn't really quite see who came out what side, but just based off of what we had heard on the scanner, it was the man who was driving. Although, of course, that could be incorrect and it was the woman. But regardless, there were two people in the vehicle and they're both going to be sought in this situation. Even if the other person had nothing to do with this, if they didn't know the car was stolen, if they didn't agree to being in this pursuit, both people will be taken into custody when they are found. They will be interrogated. And if it is a situation where one person was an unwilling participant, then that person, of course, would not face any charges in these situations. However, they will, again, both be taken into custody and interviewed. And, of course, they both took off when the pursuit came to a stop. So the officers will definitely want to talk to them both. Again, a man and a woman last seen running into the backyard of this home on the 1100 block of Cornelia in Pomona. Now, what happens if you live in this area? You'll definitely want to keep your windows and doors closed. I know it's a hot night here in Southern California, and it's very easy to just leave our windows open. However, in these types of situations, you wouldn't want to possibly have a situation where one of these individuals can run into your home. So for that reason, if you do live in this area, just off of the 71 freeway here, off of Cornelia and Canterbury, and Carlton is actually another nearby street, as are Belinda and I think the other street is Augusta Street. So if you live anywhere in this general area, the major street is going to be Ridgeway, just off of the 71 freeway. You'll want to keep your windows and doors shut. And of course, if you hear anything that is in any way remotely suspicious, a noise in the backyard or just some rustling, whatever it may be, call the Pomona Police Department, because they will investigate that to make sure that it's not one of these individuals hiding in the backyard of your home or the front yard, side yard, wherever it may be. No tip is too small. They will take your phone call, and that will be useful information to them. So again, if you live in this neighborhood, just keep your windows and doors shut while the police department continues their efforts to find these two individuals. So I'm hearing on the scanner that the police department is confirming that the man was the one that was driving. They're saying that he was wearing all black or all dark colored clothing. The woman was wearing a white top and black shorts, and she was the passenger. They were both last seen running into the backyard of this home. Now you see what's going on. You have the police dog there in the front yard, just trying to get the scent of these two individuals because they clearly ran this way. We saw them, but the last time we saw them was in the backyard. It is a backyard though with lots of trees, so it's hard to tell if they're still back there somewhere, or they could possibly even have gone into the home or dodged the police helicopter and are actually at a nearby property. So you see officers approaching now with the police canine. Thank you, Jim. So we're also hearing that you may remember that right when the pursuit came to an end, there was another man who was standing out in the driveway who was also wearing all black but was not involved in the pursuit. He actually had left the door to the home open, so there's a possibility that the two individuals who were involved in the pursuit may have gone into the home as a result of the door being left wide open. So that is why we see the Pomona police officers moving into the home with the police canine. So they're going to search the home, make sure that these two people are not hiding inside. If the home search comes back clear, that search will then move into the backyard and then into adjoining properties. So right now they're searching the garage. We saw them go in. Okay, now they're coming out of the garage. It looks like nothing was found in the garage, so they'll move to the home. You see the officers searching from the other side as well. That's the back side of the house. That's actually going to be the 71 freeway. So those officers there, and they're going to be CHP officers, are walking along the right shoulder of the northbound lanes of the 71, flashing their flashlights to see if they can find these individuals hiding anywhere in the brush between the home and the freeway. I see the dog running around back there. In fact, this would probably be a good opportunity for me to go into our infrared filter to make it a little bit easier to see. Once again, thank you to everyone who is joining us online. I'm Eliana Marino, a News Chopper 4 Alpha, along with my pilot, James Pollard. We continue to watch as officers from the Pomona Police Department and the California Highway Patrol try to find the two individuals who led them on a high-speed chase. You see that there are some people that are coming out right now, and they appear to be residents of the home or the neighboring home where those two individuals were last seen. The address that we are at is the 1100 block of Canterbury Avenue in Pomona. It's right where Canterbury meets Cornelia Street, adjacent to the 71 freeway. This is where the two people in that car, a man driver and woman passenger, abandoned the vehicle. It actually kept rolling even while they were outside of it because they failed to put it in park, and then they ran into this home here. Now, there was another man who was out in the driveway when those two individuals pulled up. It's unclear if they knew each other or not, but those two people ran into the home or to the backyard of the home. Though officers have done a thorough search of the garage and they did not find anyone in there, they've also searched the backyard and have not located anyone there either. So now the search will be focused on the actual home to see if perhaps they are inside. The man who was in the driveway did leave the door open, so there is the possibility that the two people who were in the pursuit may have gone inside, and that is where they are hiding. Or, of course, they could have gone to a neighboring property. But nonetheless, the Pomona Police Department has set up a perimeter in the area just in case those two people try to exit the area. You see that officer there talking to that one resident, just asking her general questions, of course, about what did you see? Did you see these two people? Do you know these two people? And so what he's going to have her do, and anybody else who comes out of the home, is just go across the street while they search the home and continue their search for these two people. Pardon me there as I get out of my doublers. This was initially a pursuit that started in West Covina. It was West Covina police officers who spotted this white Kia Rio. They ran the plates and it came back as stolen. They tried to pull the vehicle over, but the driver failed to yield and a pursuit was on, making its way onto the freeway where speeds topped at about 110 miles an hour. And eventually the driver exited onto surface streets yet again in the Pomona area, where he continued to drive at high speeds, run red lights, and eventually even collided with another car, but yet somehow managed to continue. The pursuit then continued on small residential streets here in Pomona, where it finally came to a stop. You see these, okay, here you go. You have more people coming out right now. That looks like the gentleman who was in the driveway earlier, the one who was on the phone when the pursuit came to an end. Now on the scanner, they're saying that this could possibly be the driver. However, this man also matches the description of the individual who is in the driveway. So they were dressed very similar, both wearing a dark top and dark bottom. So at this point, I don't want to say that that is the driver, but they are saying that the clothing at least matches what the driver was wearing. So you see that they still have this individual detained. They're asking him questions and trying to identify if, in fact, he was the one that was in the pursuit. But again, there was another gentleman who was not involved in the chase, who was in the driveway, that was wearing very similar clothing to what this gentleman is wearing here. So it could be the possibility that he is in fact the driver, or he was the man who was standing or in the driveway, or he could be someone completely different. So officers, of course, are trying to correctly identify him and make sure that they have the right person. Yeah, can you? Thank you. Again, we're in Pomona, just off of the 71 freeway. That's the freeway that you see there. We're closer to the northbound lane, so we're just on the east side of it. That's the airship overhead. It's actually the LA County airship, even though this ended up being a CHP pursuit, but initially it was West Covina. And so since West Covina doesn't have their own airship, they had requested the assistance of LA County. Now these officers here, though, are Pomona police officers, and it looks like they may be entering the home to continue their search for those two individuals. They do have someone detained that matches the description of the driver, but we know just from our footage that there was another man here that was wearing very similar clothing, and that may be who they have and not the driver. But they will search the home just to double check that nobody's hiding in there. Okay, more people coming out here. Okay, here's another gentleman coming out. And here's another young woman coming out. Now, these two individuals are not wearing the same clothing that the two people in the car were wearing. However, they had, if that is in fact them, they would have had an opportunity to possibly change out clothing. So for that reason, they will be taken off to the side, they will be interrogated, and the officers will try to identify whether or not they were the ones that were in the vehicle, even though their clothing may not match at this point. Officers are moving into the home just to continue their search for any other people that may be inside. I'm just talking on the... That was, yeah. Okay. Yeah, definite. So here's the latest for everyone who continues to watch us online. Of course, we thank you for your viewership. The Pomona Police Department officers moved into the home to clear it. They're still in there, just going through every room, every closet, under the beds, just to make sure that nobody else is hiding inside. When they did approach the door, they got 2 additional people to come out. It was a man and a woman. Those 2 individuals were taken off to the side to be interviewed further to try to figure out if they were the ones that were behind the wheel. They don't match in the clothing they were wearing, but of course, if that was them, they would have had an opportunity to change inside the house. However, their physical makeup does match that of the man and the woman who were in that possible stolen Kia that led West Covina officers, Irwindale police officers, and CHP officers on a pursuit where speeds topped at about 110 miles an hour when they were on the 60 freeway, and they were also involved in 1 collision with another car. So at this point, the airships are leaving, and the search will continue inside of the home. So the officers are now coming out of the home. They've searched it. They've found nobody else inside. So I think they're pretty confident that at least two of the folks that they have in custody are going to be the two people they were looking for. And while I have your attention, I'd like to invite you also to download our app so that next time that we do have a breaking news situation like this one, you'll be able to watch us on the big screen on your big smart TV instead of on the phone or tablet. We'll always be available there as well, of course, but if you would rather watch us on the smart TV, just search NBCLA on your Roku or Apple TV. And now I am hearing that officers are clearing the air on the scanner, so essentially it sounds like the search is over at this point. They will just continue to interrogate the people that they do have in custody. Copy that, Jack. And once again, thank you to everyone who's tuned in on this wild chase with us up here in News Chopper 4 Alpha. The night is young, though. We still have the 11 o'clock news coming up here in the next 20 minutes or so. So we're going to carry on. We're going to see if we can find something in time for the newscast. And, of course, we would love for you to tune in if you can. Again,